lucky then. Buddha said your purpose in life is to find your purpose.
Sure, that makes sense.
What's your purpose?
To protect Kunlun from all oppression. Honor the sacrifice of Shaolao the Undying.
Well, okay then.
Just remember to have fun along the way.
All right, man.
Where'd you train?
Kunlun,
Which is where?
you, can't really get there from here.
Nice try. Now it's time to go.
Whoa, if you...
You really need to leave.
This is just a practice sword. It doesn't even have an edge.
Trust me. You don't want to know what it feels like to have a practice sword smack you hard on the side of the face.
I already do. Ask Master Lei Gong the Thunderer.
I'm asking you, nicely, one last time. Please go.
I apologize for any inconvenience. I had to try.
Try what?
To survive. I stepped out, but the snow was so deep, the wind, I kept on falling, and suddenly I looked up and there were these two men standing above me. Chodak and Tashi.
And who were they?
Monks. Order of the Crane Mother.
Wow. Monks. Of the Order of the Crane Mother, what kind of monks are those?
They were warrior monks.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Easter egg video for the first couple of episodes, so here we go. So many comic book shoutouts. So if you're new to the channel, I do all kinds of Marvel videos. There's going to be a bunch of Iron Fist happening. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. There's even a Marvel giveaway that's going on right now. So let's start with the biggest stuff first. So he explains Shaolao the Dragon, Kunlun, the capital cities of heaven, and how he's the mortal enemy of the hand. So I'll explain some of the comic book changes as I work through this Easter egg video, but there's a whole bunch of stuff. The Order of the Crane Mother. So we get all this dropped in the first couple of episodes, just helping you place him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because if you've read his backstory, a lot of you guys said that you've read the Immortal Iron Fist again recently, which is a great Matt Fraction run, but you just don't know what the TV show is going to do and how it's going to treat the character till you actually see some of these episodes. But just working our way down the list, the big one, Shaolao the Dragon. So if you don't know who that is, that's where he gets his Iron Fist power from. He defeats the dragon gets reborn, another Iron Fist comes along, defeats the dragon, gets their Iron Fist power. But the way they transfer that power is they plunge their fists into the heart of the dragon after it's been defeated. When he calls it Shaolao the Undying, it's because once you defeat the dragon, it's reborn as an egg, it hatches again when it's time for another Iron Fist to take the power. He says he's tasked with defending Kunlun against any interlopers, anyone that would seek them harm. He's only the defender of the city when the dragon isn't around. So if there's no Iron Fist, the dragon itself protects Kunlun. They've only touched on the 7 capital cities of heaven in the first couple of episodes, but each city has its own immortal weapon that defends it the same way that Iron Fist takes Shaolao's power and defends that city. But what about the title sequence? There's a big Easter egg during that, so that's basically showing you him harnessing his chi, but it's one of my favorite title sequences of all the shows. They're all fantastic. All the Netflix shows have the best title sequences, but Daredevil and Iron Fist now are my favorites. The way it builds towards the climax here, this is what it looks like when he's going full-blown Iron Fist. The title of the first episode, Snow Gives Way, is a reference to Kunlun sinking with the Earth. It's once every 15 years on the TV show. In the comics, it's once every 10 years. Every 88 years, the celestial clock that's formed by the 7 capital cities of heaven syncs up. They all form this special island where they all duel each other, and they get to decide the order of the celestial clock. So what happens is if you lose the tournament or you do really poorly, then your capital city of heaven will get locked away from the earth for an even longer period of time. It determines the order. But if you're wondering why the Outcast song is playing on his iPod when he rolls up like a hobo with no shoes on, it's because that was what he had on him when the plane crashed. That's how long he's been gone. So that lets you know that he crashed in about the year 2000, just assuming that that song was brand new when the plane crashed. So while he has defeated the dragon Shao Lao, he hasn't been on the street being the Iron Fist quite as long as Daredevil has been Daredevil. The really cool Easter egg is he's entering the building here. He's looking at the highlight reel, seeing all the different things that Rand has its business in. You see those pills? They're probably caught up with the IGH company. They're like $1 billion corporation, multi-billion dollar corporation. So they have their, wait for it, big pun, hand in a bunch of things. So the hand is a big part of this series. It all explained as I go through my Easter egg, but you see those pills. So pharmacology is a really big deal in this series. The really insidious way that people get medicated. They kind of treat illness in a really specific way. Like when he's in the psychiatric hospital, everyone's like, oh, I was fine, and then they put me on all these pills and said that I was bipolar. That implies they're tied up with the IGH company that made those special pills that also gave the Purple Man his powers. So it's all connected. It'll come back around during Defenders. There were a number of big plot lines that they set up. The hand is one of those. The drug business is another. There were actually a couple times, like even Ward Meacham was medicating himself. They really want you to think about big corporations pushing drugs on people. But you meet Joy and Ward Meacham. The change from the comics here is that Ward Meacham is actually the brother of Harold Meacham. Harold Meacham is sort of like the kingpin of this series. Like you see him fighting, like in the way that Iron Fist is meant to be this really great martial artist. That's them teeing up a fight between the two of them later on. But he is technically not the worst villain on the show because he gets really excited when he finds out that Iron Fist is the mortal enemy of the hand. Then he finds the handprint, where did you go, when he comes back to his apartment. Like even though he's a billionaire, seemingly has all this power, is a prisoner of the hand himself. And it seems like he had to fake his death because of something that he's involved in with them. We meet Colleen Wing, straight out of the comics, daughter of the dragon, badass martial artist. The only real big change from the comics is that she doesn't know about Danny Rand before he comes. In the comics, her father's a professor. He knows all about the Iron Fist. When he senses that he is coming from Kunlun, he sends Colleen Wing to help him out directly. So really there was no get to know you period. She just shows up and says, oh, you're the Iron Fist, let's go fight some evil. But speaking of which, the dojo, he actually gave the shout out to Lei Kung the Thunderer. He's the person that trained the Iron Fist. And like when he's talking about Crane Mother, so the series might be treating her in a slightly different way, but I think that Madame Gao is supposed to be the Crane Mother of the series. But technically in the comics, she's the leader of one of the other immortal cities. When he wakes up in the hospital, the doctor says he's Donald Birch. That's actually a character that Power Man and Iron Fist fought in the comics. Danny tells the doctor that his art teacher was Mr. Miller. Frank Miller did the Power Man and Iron Fist comic book back in the day, so that's just a nice wink at that. There was even a Spider-Man Easter egg when the doctor calls him John Anderson. That was actually a character who fought with Spider-Man to defeat Dr. Octopus. So we got all this Spider-Man MCU stuff happening. I'm just waiting for the day when the de facto newspaper and news organization of the MCU becomes the Daily Bugle. That would be so amazing. But the way they end the first couple of episodes is just by teeing up the hand as this really ominous thing that's going to continue through the rest of the season. He says he's their mortal enemy, so think of the way they were big for Daredevil Season 2, they're going to be even bigger for Iron Fist, and they might even tease some Elektra stuff because they had just started to resurrect her at the end of that series. And we finally get to see him use the Iron Fist. So he says pain helps him focus his chi. Focusing his chi allows him to harness the abilities of the Iron Fist. So they didn't really address it, but one of his powers as the Iron Fist is the ability to use his chi to heal himself But if you spotted any other Easter eggs that I didn't mention, just write them below in the comments. And what I'll do is I'll do a video like this for every couple of episodes. So like episodes 3, 4, 5 in the next couple days and so on and so forth till I finish the season. So be sure to check everything out. You don't have to binge it all at once, but if you want to try, totally go for it. It's going to be awesome. But what's going to happen is I have new Spider-Man Venom that I'm going to be posting later tonight. They confirmed that they're working on a Spider-Man Venom movie. While you wait for that, you can click here to listen to Iron Fist talk about Defender Season 1 they're shooting right now, and you can click here for my non-spoilery review for the first half of the season. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.